And then I'll take a minute to go through a couple of changes in OpenRTB that I think are probably really relevant for you guys. I want to start with the conversation around buyer UID. And so I share this slide really at the beginning of the year, even slightly early or slightly late last year. It came to light, it was brought to Tech Lab's attention that there were unexpected values being placed in the buyer UID field and potentially the IFA field in OpenRTB. There were definitely, I bring this up because there were a lot of stories in the press about this, about the way that cookie IDs were being passed, about how this was impacting buyers who were expecting cookie IDs to be used in the buyer UID field. And so we definitely heard everyone loud and clear, and we convened a working group. It met for, I would say that actually started late last year, and it has been working tirelessly all this year, led by Hillary Slattery. And so they came to this proposal. And so the proposal is in public comment right now. So if you guys have any thoughts or feedback, you should be able to go to the OpenRTB GitHub repository and feel free to put those in directly as comments there, or you can also send an email with to support@iabtechlab.com with any specific comments that you want included for discussion. But essentially, the notes here specify that so basically it was felt by the community that the buyer UID and IFA descriptions were vague. So they wanted more clarity in what these descriptions were meant and what these descriptions were about. And so you can see very clearly now the highlighted yellow section that unless prior arrangements have been made between the buyer and seller directly, the value in this field is expected to be derived from an ID sync. And then we included a pretty thorough appendix that includes what cookie-based ID syncing looks like. And the same goes for IFA. And so, you know, we have, Tech Lab wants to make sure that there is sort of an understanding between buyer and seller of the standard uses for certain fields and what the expectation is along with the OpenRTB specification. But that doesn't mean that people can't use it for their own purposes. So unless, and that means that prior arrangements, if you have a prior arrangement, you guys, both buyer and seller know what is going on and what they're doing, and they're both okay with it. Like, we aren't the internet police. We're not here to say that that's not possible, but we are trying to ensure that the default behavior, the default understanding is meant to be a cookie sync ID. And so this is yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear. If your arrangement between buyer and seller is completely understood and you are very confident in that, that's between you guys. It's just the default, the base level expectation that we want to make sure is clear. And any other uses, so this also isn't to say that the additional IDs aren't something that can be transmitted in OpenRTB. But we did some work to what we call the EIDs array, which is the extended identifier section of OpenRTB. And we made that a little bit more clear about how some of these additional identifiers should be passed there. And that is the preferred location for those to go. And so those updated roles within the EIDs array are considered inserter, source, and matcher. So the details are all here. It's really a definition of each party and what they are intended to do. And these are also within the OpenRTB specification. So please review these and definitely send us an email or post a comment or question on GitHub if you have any questions. Along with this update, we included within the EIDs array, updated enumeration for match methods. So these go into detail about how the ID is generated, for lack of a better term. And so the details here are the various types of values and the definition of how those are matched, how the ID matching is done. So you can also look for that in the EIDs array.